Thank you. Welcome to the meeting of July 1st. Kaylee, can we have roll call?
Yes, Chair. Supervisor Arroyo.
Here.
Supervisor Bohn.
Yep.
Supervisor Wilson.
Present.
Supervisor Madrone.
Present.
Chair Bushnell.
Good morning again.
All are here.
Okay, we're going to salute our flag. You could stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. CAO, are there any modifications to the agenda today?
Good morning, Chair Bushnell. There are no modifications today.
Okay, we'll go right into our consent calendar. Are there any comments on the consent calendar from the board? No? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to our first proclamation, it's coming to us from Supervisor Madrone.
Thank you, Chair Bushnell, and I see Billy is here and others to receive this proclamation. Welcome.
Thank you, Supervisor Madrone.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Well, this is a real honor. It's a proclamation in honor of our Sheriff's Citizens on Patrol, which I don't know what we'd do without you guys, frankly speaking. I know in McKinleyville, you're a huge piece of our community up there. I'm sure in the rest of the unincorporated areas. And so we want to thank you, and we've got this proclamation for you. Whereas the Sheriff's Citizens on Patrol, or SCOPE program, has selflessly served the McKinleyville community for almost 30 years, contributing hundreds of volunteer hours towards public safety and community engagement. And whereas SCOPE volunteers have provided visible patrol checks throughout McKinleyville, offering an added layer of security and peace of mind for residents and business owners alike. And whereas the SCOPE team has performed countless vacation house checks, ensuring the protection of private property, and offering reassurances to community members while they are away from home. And whereas SCOPE members have reliably assisted with traffic control during events and emergencies, helping to ensure the safety and smooth operation of numerous public gatherings, and whereas the SCOPE program has actively participated in a wide range of community events, reflecting its deep commitment to building positive relationships and fostering trust between residents and law enforcement, and whereas many SCOPE volunteers such as Mary, Ruth, Tom Sheets, Michael Pixley, and Kenneth Starkey have dedicated over a decade of service, demonstrating extraordinary commitment, leadership, and civic pride through their ongoing contributions to McKinleyville's well-being. And whereas the recently retired members of the SCOPE program are especially deserving of recognition for their years of steadfast service, with their legacy of dedication continuing to inspire current and future volunteers. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Humboldt County Board of Supervisors, Sheriff William Hansel, and the staff of the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office hereby recognize and commend the Sheriff's Citizens on Patrol volunteers for their exemplary service, unwavering dedication, and significant impact on the safety and quality of life in McKinleyville. Thank you.
Yes, we want a picture, for sure. Supervisor, we're going to turn around here. And then we'll get Supervisor Madrone in here, too. Right in the middle, sir.
Here you go.
Yes. Great. Perfect.
There we go.
Get you
I'll
right
jump in here.
Perfect. Yes. Good.
Good to see you.
One more. Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, stay up here now. We want to. Yes.
Thank you.
Steve, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, you're looking at the Rat Pack right here, okay? This is really the OGs of McKinleyville SCOPE. So, yes, no. So, you were looking at over 50 years of volunteerism behind me. And this group has dedicated their lives, essentially, for SCOPE in McKinleyville. And so this is what community policing is all about. This is what being a part of the community is all about, making your community better. And so part of it is recognizing all their volunteer hours and everything that they have done, which is just remarkable. And we need to recruit the next generation. You know, that's the key here. Recruit the next generation of Scope volunteers to go around and do this, because the visual deterrent alone, we don't know how much crime that they deterred just by patrolling around neighborhoods and doing vacation checks. All those things are just vital to keeping our community safe, and they've done so much that we have no idea. But we need more. We need more people that are out there doing this job and helping us out, because we don't have the eyes and ears everywhere in our community, but they help us do that. And so I would love for Marie Ruth, you want to start us off and say a few words? I would love for you to do that, because you volunteered so much. So if you can, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure serving the Sheriff's Department for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's true that we don't have the authority, but a lot of people respect what we do and thank us. And that's a great part of it, is to show appreciation for any volunteers that help in your community. And we wish that a lot of people, even though they say, well, I don't have the time, it only takes 4 hours once a week, and you sit in the car and you watch out for your neighbors. And please, show up and volunteer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Say a few words.
Yeah, I just want to say it's been an honor and a privilege serving the sheriff's office and my community. So thanks.
Thank you.
I also want to thank, it was a great honor for me also to come up here and from Southern California and work to learn the area and meet different people. Some of them were afraid, and I tried to help them, and we did a fingerprints for the kids once, and that was great. Really enjoyed that. But I learned a lot up here, and learned a lot about the county while I was here too. So it was a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, again, I appreciate the recognition, and we need more volunteers. If you want to volunteer, HumboldtSheriff.org is our website. Please check that out, and we'd love for people to volunteer with our SCOPE program. Thank you.
Supervisor Bohn?
And I think you said it well when you said just the deterrent of them driving around, because, I mean, the classic case in point, go to O'Brien and Leggett. They have 1950 Ford police cars parked on the side of the road, and everybody takes their foot off the gas when they see it. Can you imagine? I mean, they do. There's just no way around it, and you've driven by it 100 times. When you guys come driving down the road, they don't see the little scope on the back. They just see somebody representing law enforcement, and it makes them think twice. And you guys have done a great job, and I look forward to doing it in 7 years.
Supervisor Arroyo?
You all look very sharp today, and I wanted to just echo the thanks for your service to the community. I know that it can also help build bridges when there are folks who aren't sworn officers but who represent the department, to help people understand more about all the aspects of what you all do. So I really think that's a wonderful contribution, and I didn't know that it was just 4 hours a week, so I'm going to spread the word. I'm sure you'd take more than 4 hours a week if people are able to give it, but that's great to know. Thank you.
Supervisor Wilson?
Yeah. I associate myself with all the positive words, but it is the reminder of the 4 hours a week. I want to say, just because we get asked pretty often from people like, hey, how can I participate? How can I contribute? That's asked of us all the time. And they want to, people are, can I be on a committee? Can I help clean up a trail? Can I do this? Whatever it is. But this is one of those things that definitely is on the list, I think, for me now. Yes. More so, I'll elevate this one. So I really appreciate you coming in and celebrating the work that's been done and the effort. And it's not just kind of a law enforcement. I would say there's also an ambassadorship in many ways. And we've seen that in my community of Arcata. We have folks there. Sometimes we've had them doing the work that you're doing in the same way through the Arcata PD. But then we also have the ambassador folks that just walk around the green outfits. But either way, they're humans, citizens that are awake and aware and helping people in the community, and that is just very important and very appreciated. Thank you so much for doing that. We'll try and get you some more people.
Do you know how many hours you've volunteered in 20 years? No?
More than 4 hours a week.
More than 4 hours a week.
Many more.
What a commitment to Humboldt County, and thank you. I wish we had something like this in Southern Humboldt. It would be huge down there. I know just the presence, like Supervisor Bohn said, foot off the gas when you see a cop car, whether it's a scope car or sheriff or CHP. And it's always helpful. Southern Humboldt, such a big area like McKinleyville, and it's always helpful that you can radio, an officer and say, hey, whatever the situation is. So thank you for protecting Humboldt as well as our sworn officers. Supervisor Madrone, are you good?
HumboldtSheriff.org.
Yes, HumboldtSheriff.org. And I just want to say this. You don't have to be retired to be a part of SCOPE, okay? You have to be 18 and have a driver's license and have a fairly clean record, okay? To volunteer with us, because we'll do a background, and it's not a very long training program, and SCOPE is very organized. We provide uniforms and do all those things, and the vehicle and the gas. And we just need your time, essentially. So it's a great way to give back. So thank you.
Supervisor Bohn?
And just for a commercial moment, do we still have some local vendors that support it? Because I know 30 years ago, I helped set up the free gas.
Yes.
And I know Advanced Security has helped and donated. I just know there's vendors that help, and there's always that availability with your tight budget that this helps a lot.
We get donations every year, and Renner Valley Petroleum does help, as well as other businesses in the area. So yes, we do appreciate that.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so we'll go on to the rest of our consent calendar. Are there any comments or from the board before I go to public comment? Supervisor Arroyo?
I just wanted to highlight the fact that we're sending a letter of support about designation of a Patty Berg Memorial Highway. I'm pleased that we're able to do that today. What a life and role of leadership she had in our community. So excited to be able to do that today.
Okay, Supervisor Madrone?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Brian Mitchell. On our agenda, he is being honored for his service on the appeals board, but he also served on the Humboldt County Planning Commission for many years. And so just want to thank you, Brian, for your service to our community and wish you all the best.
Okay, we'll go out to public comment and we'll start on the Zoom first.
There is none, Chair.
Okay, we'll go to public comment in the room. Good morning, Kent.
Very sad day for me. Item 5. I won't mention the name, but knew him when he was little, and he always wanted to. When the kids would have hot dog and hamburgers, he wanted steak, and he was very skilled. He was, in my opinion, way on the spectrum. Went to a top-notch accounting firm, went right to top auditor, was auditing municipalities at a very young age, then moved on into the public, into the private sector, and very successful there also. Was one of the wealthiest people. But it's so sad to see somebody, and I have a term, I call it 4th Street connected. And a lot of times, it's something we all need to be aware of. A lot of times it's a significant other that has a habit or something. This transfers into a spiral that ends up where it is now. And I know for those of you who actually know who I'm referring to, this is something we need to avoid. It can happen to anybody. In my opinion, it also happened to a prior supervisor up here, who was supervisor before Supervisor Madrone. And he got 4th Street connected, from what I heard, actually in the parking lot out there, in the casino and everything out there in Trinidad, and his life spiraled down the same pathway. So it can happen to anybody out there. something that we're having a problem with that, and it's a systemic problem. And the more we can keep people from being 4th Street connected for whatever level it is, I think it's going to be in all of our best interest. I hate to see it happen to any of you people, but it can happen to anybody. So thanks for the opportunity to speak on that very important topic. And like I say, it's a very sad day for me today.
Thanks, Kent. Any other public comment in the room? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Supervisor Wilson.
Thanks. I have two things. One, Supervisor Arroyo brought up, which is the support for Patty Berg's section of highway there at the north side of Arcata. Yeah, she was a spark for sure. Whether you were on her side of the issue or the other side, she was an engaged citizen and legislator, and even beyond that, she has a legacy for women's rights and for the infrastructure around our elder services, and so I'm just very appreciative of that. And she's just always fun to hang out with too. Just a really hilarious person. And the next thing on there is or the next thing I have here is the Fish and Game Advisory Committee has a grant program, and so they are putting out a press release for that. And I just wanted to highlight some examples of some of the types of funds that they've given out in the past, so that people have an idea of like what that money has been going to. So there's been a classroom aquarium education program. They gave $3,000 to that. There was a study measuring the exposure of domonic acid in Humboldt Bay bivalves. There was $1,500 to that. Novel on-sites into diet of local carnivores. There was money given to that. Again, more money to the aquarium programs for our local education and local schools. And Redwood Creek, South Fork, Eel River, low flow monitoring and water conservation education, and some other stuff too. So just there's small grants for both education and work done, that seek to align with the mission of the Fish and Game Commission. And so folks out there that are looking for small grants, please see the press release that comes out and apply. Thanks.
Supervisor Bohn?
Yeah, I want to thank you for bringing the Patty Berg thing. She was, I was on both sides of the spectrum. And at the end, she would end up being a big supporter, go by the house. It doesn't mention the part of where's the highway?
It is in the staff report. Goes from, it's in Arcata. It goes from 12th Street to Giantoli.
We couldn't get the part that she looked out from her house and looked over?
I guess not.
That's too bad, because she looked, from her house, you could see the highway in the bay. So, anyway, she always was on me about Union Street till it got fixed, and the whole time it was being constructed. And I want to thank Ted. Ted was one of my first appointees on a commission a long time ago. Not the first one, but one of the first. And Ted put in his time and was always looking out for the Brant and everything along those lines. So I appreciate all that Ted did, and he would keep me filled in on what was going on in the meetings on the Fish and Game Commission, so it was great.
Okay. So Caltrans actually is the one that picked the area for, yeah, and
We have input on it, I
Yeah.
thought.
We really did. They brought it to me, and then I pushed it to Wilson, Supervisor Wilson, because it's his district. So maybe we could have, but I don't think we engaged. Yeah. So, so with that, I would look for a motion.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
A second.
Okay. And I think we have our little buttons.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. With that, we will go on to our next item, which is public comment on non-agenda items, and we'll go to, when Kaylee is ready, we will go to Zoom.
There is none, Chair.
Okay, and we'll go to public comment in the room. Good morning.
Good morning. Guess what? I did not take the bus today. I rode the Humboldt Bay Trail on my bright orange bike with my bright orange jacket. And there were a few hiccups getting into this room right now. My name's Joanne McGarry. I'd like to talk about three things. I hope you appreciate that. The three things are all connected. It's about connection. So the connection now on bike or foot or skate or whatever to Arcata, from Arcata to Eureka and back, it's really great. This is my second trip. I had to stop for about 10 minutes, and there was no warning about the stop when I started. So it was a little frustrating because I wanted to get here on time. But I'm here, so you're getting that, and it's wonderful. It took so long, which is something I want to talk about at the end, for things like this to happen. Good things take too long. And when I rode up to the 5th Street entrance to the courthouse, there's a bike parking under the stairs, but I don't have a key. Somebody was parked outside it, locked their bike. I locked my bike outside and then was told by the security I had to go around and park here. So if you want me at these meetings and me to come on my bike, please do something to make it really bike friendly when I get here somehow. So thank you, that's that. I'm wearing a new sweatshirt, the Amazon rainforest, the connection between my riding my bike and not using fossil fuels, and all that for the climate. And just please tell me what's happening with our regional climate action plan. We really need to move much quicker. We had to have moved much quicker on this. I just want some information on some specifics of what's the date and when can we start telling people, get out of your cars, stop doing this, doing that, start doing this, start doing that, positive kind of stuff. So that's the second thing about connection. You know, whatever happens in our place affects other places in the world, which brings me to my current topic of my daily life that I must say is Gaza. And I read horrible things about things are going to wind down soon in the war, and also things are popping up about all the wonderful oil reserves off the shores of Gaza that people can pillage. And so the connection between our asking for a ceasefire resolution is great. We didn't ask for them to stop sending weapons. And now it just remains to be seen as to what's going to happen. But this, you know, it's not just over there happening to other people. It's happening to us.
Joanne, before you go back to your seat, we can't do it back and forth, but I do want to say that if you want to know about the climate action plan, if you go on to the Planning and Building Department, and if you don't have internet, you can call them. And it's been out for comments and is moving forward. And we expect it to come, I think, July, second week in July to the board. So, CAO?
If I could just make one comment as well, that we do have public bike parking on the 4th Street side of the courthouse. And so you can come that side, enter through security, and come up the stairs or elevator there to get to the chambers.
So your comments were helpful today. Thank you. And we're going to go on to our next public speaker. Welcome again, Kent.
So you've heard a lot about Blue Lake out there, and we have a campaign here to unify Blue Lake and get rid of all the animosity that's going out there. I'm not optimistic about Blue Lake's future. The current city council inherited a city that is in such distress financially that we may have to basically no longer be a city and be a part of the county. When you have multiple years of mismanagement, multiple years of neglect, not being able to look toward a financial future, not doing planning, then you end up in the position Blue Lake appears to be in, which would be very unfortunate. It's a wonderful little town. There are some of us who are trying to unify Blue Lake and try to develop economic strategy to enable Blue Lake to continue as a city. Unfortunately, that may not happen, and I guess there's a process where they just shut it down and then it's yours. Hope that doesn't happen. So there are us trying to unify Blue Lake, get past all the animosity and stuff out there. I did also, and Virginia Bass is in the room, and I couldn't remember the guy's name, but he was a prophet, and he came here. I think Rex might know the name, but he came here. He ran for supervisor once. He came here and he played the flute, and he always said, he smoked the chakra with the people over there and everything. I don't see my timer up there, but anyway, he did that, and very interesting guy. And his prophecy was, you basically need to have the farmers market where they can sell their wheat at the farmers market. If that would have happened rather than the other way, we would be way better off now. We should have listened to that particular prophet instead of having certain big people take over the business, and it's going to go to corporation next. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
You have 1:15 left if you want to continue.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd like to finish that. What happened instead of having the little farmers, and we had Sunshine in here, it was only the farmers who were big enough and had enough political snooze to go ahead and have full distribution all the way up the chain. That's where the money's made. It's not made after little farmer. In other words, the Thomas Mulders got ripped off because they didn't have full distribution. The county didn't give them full distribution. And because of that, these people lost their money because they sell to dispensaries or brokers. And the whole thing collapsed because we had a few people who were very greedy in the county who enabled this to be set up so they would benefit and they would have the control. And now they're in the position most likely to liquidate to the corporate greed, the biggest of the big. So speaking of corporate greed, eventually, a little quick thing recently, 26 seconds. I saw the day where CEQA is dead in California. Basically, the large people, the Dan Johnsons, the richest people in the state, have won out, and they no longer have to have any CEQA for their big projects. And I think there was a Coastal Commission thing that happened. That was the best $2,500 I did to shut down a motel out there in Trinidad, filing the filing fees. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment in the room? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Hi, Virginia. So we will go on to our next item. We do have a pretty small agenda today, but this one is matters initiated by a board member. And this is coming to us from Supervisor Madrone, annual report from the Area 1 Agency on Aging. And I'm going to hand it over to Supervisor Madrone.
Thank you, Chair. And I think Maggie's here to present our annual report on various accomplishments, challenges, and other matters over the last year. Welcome, Maggie.
There we go. How's that? Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me some time today, and I appreciate your flexibility. It seemed like we should push this off to a calmer meeting and not in the middle of your budget work. So, and it gave me more time to figure out maybe what's happening at the state and federal level, which I'll get into a little bit. But as we all know, there's still a lot of unknowns out there. I'm really happy to be here on the day that you are honoring my mentor and predecessor, Patty Berg. I will say that no one since Patty has been able to do the things that Patty accomplished. She always said she only slept 4 hours a night. And so I was always saying, well, see, that's why we can't do as much. She was a force for sure. And I have a little story I just want to share with you because she was very diverse in her everything. And I remember going to visit her where she was living at the end of her life, and I brought her a chocolate milkshake because I knew that's what she liked. And I brought her a chocolate milkshake. We sat, we drank our milkshakes, we looked at my pictures from Italy, and we had a great conversation. Then she stops, she looks at me, she goes, "Do you have Annie's phone number?" I go, "Yes, I do." She goes, "Okay." So she got on the phone, called up this woman and started right in on an idea to raise $1 million for Life Plan Humboldt. You know, she was just always working, even on a Sunday afternoon with a milkshake in her hand. And I just, you know, we had some back and forth when I moved up here at 26 and I ran the ombudsman program. And at 26, you know just about all you need to know. And so I butted heads with Patty a few times, but we also worked very cooperatively together on most things. So anyway, I'm glad to see her honored in a small way. So, where are my slides?
We're getting them up right now. When you're
Perfect.
ready to switch slides, just let me know.
Okay. And where did that voice come from? Oh, there you are, behind the curtain. Okay. I knew you were here somewhere. Thank you. All right. Next slide, please. And some of this you've seen before, but because there's people out in the world who might just not have seen it, and I like to certainly right now reemphasize some of these things, because the Older Americans Act is 60 years old this year. And that means if it were a person, it could start receiving services from the Older Americans Act. And things are not great in the world of this. A lot of things have been done, but this act has never been really funded at the need that we're seeing and the growing need of seniors in our communities. And there's some of it is under threat. There have been some things that happened at the federal level that they in this process of the DOJ work, they eliminated the entire department that ran this act, and luckily with advocacy, they brought it back. So there's a lot we just don't know about what's going to happen at the federal level. Right now, things look as if they will continue, but not with increased funding and maybe with less funding. We just don't know yet. But again, here in the state, there's 33 AAAs. Most of those are part of county government. We are a nonprofit. That was back when Patty started this group with working with Board of Supervisors and other people. It was thought that doing it this way would be a better way for the county to both counties, Delaware and Humboldt, to work together and have this. So that's where it's been, and we are celebrating our 45th birthday this year. So a lot of things have changed over the last 45 years, but many things haven't. We've been talking about supportive caregivers since that time. We've been talking about lack of affordability in a lot of areas. So a lot of things have not changed. There's just more of us heading into this time where we may need help, a little more help. And that is, next slide, please. So these are the things we do, and I wanted to pull these out because some of these things are what we do on behalf of the counties. One of the things we have to do every 4 years is create an entirely new area plan, 4-year plan, that outlines what our assets are, what the community looks like, and what services will be provided. We also advocate on behalf of older adults, and we monitor all the funding that we bring in and give out to our subcontractors. We have to monitor all that. And we provide some direct services, and again, we also provide funding to other organizations, and I'll talk a little bit about them in a minute. Yes, next slide, please. And then this is just a pretty picture of a big pot of money, and then a slightly smaller pot of money, and then a very small pot of money that gets, by the time it gets to us. But basically, the money comes to the federal government. We are being moved. The department that manages this money at the federal level is now being moved into a new department at the federal level, and we're going to wait and see what impacts that has. But then the Department of Aging comes to the Department of Aging, and then we get allocated the funding primarily based on population. There's a small percentage of the funding formula that looks at landmass, geography, so it's like 10%. So we get a little bump there, but we're always behind the curve because all the other counties have larger populations and their growth rate. I mean, even if we doubled the number of seniors living here overnight, it still would be nothing compared to what are in the other counties. So our piece of the pot has been constantly shrinking just by population alone. Next slide. So this is the money that we brought in or had in our budget last year, and I just gave you a little breakdown of where that money came from, and more than half of it, or about half of it, went to our subcontractors, and a lot of that federal dollars that were there and the state general fund were one-time only dollars that are going away. If you look at the next slide. we've lost a bit of money, and we're going to continue as some of those one-time only funds from the state go away. We will be losing funding, but mostly this year, it looks like our subcontractors are taking the hit. So and that again is just how they allocate the funds. So that's mostly our nutrition programs. That's mostly Del Norte Senior Center and Humboldt Senior Resource Center. We already don't fund them at the rate to provide all the meals they provide. They have to find other money to provide more meals. And so this is going to have an impact on nutrition for older adults at the same time that we're seeing at the federal level the SNAP program, CalFresh, being targeted. So we're really concerned about that in our community. There was an article in the paper today about Food for People that talked about the numbers of people using their services, and seniors are a big part, and they're worried about losing one of their senior program funding. So we're really concerned about this. Next slide, please. So I'm going to there's slides in here. I'm not going to go through all of them because you have them in your packets, but I thought it would be good to give an overview of some of the direct services that we provide at our organization, because people don't always know what we do. We're a very small team, but we seem to do a lot of things. And these are 3 of the things we do. We have our INA, that's the first place. People don't know what to do, they call us, and we talk to them, refer them to services, help get them what they need. We're offering digital classes, iPad classes, and our program, North Coast Home Share, matches people with housing with people who need housing. And I would say that most of the people that take advantage of this and find a room in a house could not afford housing here otherwise. And that is getting worse. We know that the fastest growing population of first-time homeless people are people over 60, or older adults, and and women are the majority of those. And we're seeing that. You're probably seeing that in our communities. You're seeing more people on the street, more older people on the street. And again, Arcade House Partnership and other services that serve homeless folks are also being targeted and losing money. So we are looking at how we might need to shift what we do to deal what everyone else is losing. Next slide, please. Our volunteer driver program is also a great volunteer program. And the sheriff has left the building or left the room, but I'm going to steal some of his thunder and let you know that you don't have to even volunteer 4 hours a week for our program, volunteer driver program. What you do is you sign up and you take somebody to a doctor's appointment, to the pharmacy, maybe grocery shopping, and you sign up for as many rides or as few rides as you want. It's under your choice. We pay mileage, and it's a great way to meet some really fun, interesting people and hear their stories and the history. I do rides every once in a while because I don't like us not to provide a ride that we've signed up for, and I always enjoy it. So this is something that is really easy to do as a volunteer opportunity. And we will be losing some of the Department of Transportation funds starting in January. The grant we're getting for that year is those 2 years is a little lower. So we need to really up our volunteer drivers to help meet the challenge of that. Next slide, please. We also do a lot trying to help people age safely in home, and part of what that means is fall prevention, looking at their homes and seeing what we can do to make it safer. A lot of times when people leave their homes, it's because of an accident or an injury that makes them unable to go back home. We have to keep seniors living where they live now. We can't afford to have them have to go somewhere else. There aren't other places for them to go. Many people can't afford to go into assisted living facilities here. They would end up in nursing homes if they're low income. And I just talked to a family that their parents were sent to a nursing home in Oakland because there's no room. They couldn't accept them here. So that's what's going to happen for folks who are, if they can't stay independent in their home, they're going to be forced into situations maybe out of the area. So it's a lot easier and less expensive to make homes safe than it is to pay for nursing homes. and to deal with that being so far away from your family and your supports. Disaster response, we work in this area. We're members in COAD, and I'm on the board and wanting to work really closely with the county around access and functional needs in disaster situations. So I know that Ryan Derby is starting to pull together a team to look at access and functional needs, and we're looking forward to doing what we can do to help support that. Next slide, please. This is one of our most popular programs, HICAP. It helps people figure out Medicare. And if you've gotten to the point where you had to figure out Medicare, you kind of know what this might feel like. It's challenging, especially for people who don't have internet access, may take a lot of different medicines. They're low income. We're there to help them. Next slide, please. And this is the top number there is what we do for people is we help them find the best plan. And that means they're saving money on their plan. A lot of people just pay the same, have the same plan, and it changes and the prices go up and they don't know what to do about it. But when they look at other options, they realize, oh, I'm paying too much for my Part D, my prescription plan. So we help them with that. We also help people sign up for Medicare. We help a lot of people who are low income who need some extra assistance. So this program is very popular and helps a lot of people. And we also use volunteers in this program, but it's a much more challenging volunteer opportunity. You have to learn about Medicare. That's hard. It's a lot to do. But we have some great volunteers in that program. Go ahead. Ombudsman program, this is where I started my career. We advocate for people in long-term care facilities, primarily using volunteers, but we have a couple of staff. We do elder abuse investigations in nursing homes and assisted living. And so the work is really challenging. And those volunteers are also very highly trained. Next slide, please. And there's just numbers of the kinds of stuff those people have been doing. The volunteers, what we've been doing in the facilities. Next slide. And these are the types of complaints that we get. Most of the complaints were around some kind of abuse or neglect, and the other complaints, a lot of them around care, accessing the things people need. And imagine if you don't have a family member and they're advocating for you, and you need an ombudsman sometimes to just help make sure things go the way they're supposed to go. Next slide. This is a fun program, SAIL. It's our exercise program. And during COVID, we went all online with this. And now we've got a mixture. We have hybrid meetings and in-person meetings, or classes, I should say. And we have about 128 people last year who attended classes around the area. We're also, I want to note, we have a contract with Public Health where we're providing them funding to help support the work they're doing with older adults, because Public Health has been really focused on providing classes for older adults and doing some of the work. Now that we have CalFresh funding, which we didn't, we're working with your Public Health to help take some of that burden financially off of the Public Health so they can expand their services to other populations. So we're just doing some things new this year where we will be paying for more of the work that somebody in your department does around working with older adults and classes and bringing more classes for them. So, and that will be in the CalFresh space, but they're also health promotion classes. So, next slide. It's outreach and education season. The summer is full of opportunities to go places, and we are out there in force, trying to let people know what we do, what resources that we have for people to find what they need. Next slide. So these are the services provided by our subcontractors, Del Norte Senior Center, Humboldt Senior Resource Center, the number of meals they've been providing. And again, we can't fund this whole thing. We fund part of it. They they are challenged to always look for more money because people need to eat every day. Next slide. We fund senior legal services, and they don't get a lot of money from us, but they get enough of money to support a part of an attorney. They're seeing a lot of issues around housing here locally, and I know that some of that stuff has been in the news with huge rental increases given to some folks, and they have stepped up to really help support older adults to stay in their home. A lot of the work they do is around public benefits and entitlements, but now more and more we're seeing a lot more housing issues with older adults. It's really impacted the need. The need is growing. Next slide. We also fund, this is a program a lot of people don't know about, but it helps caregivers, Redwood Caregiver Resource Center. They help family caregivers. So if you're a family caregiver, it means probably you're not getting paid, you're taking time off from work, it's 24/7, it's emotionally draining, it's physically draining, and people don't know that there's help out there. In fact, when I said to my stepmom years ago, you seem pretty stressed out, caregiving is stressful, because she was taking care of my father. She looked at me, she goes, I'm not a caregiver. I looked at her, I go, what do you mean? She goes, well, I'm not being paid. And I'm like, that is not how you define caregiving. You're a caregiver and you're stressed, and let's get you some support. But family members think it's just what you do. As a family member, you take care of your spouse, you take care of your parents. It is caregiving, it is stressful, and this is a great resource for people in that situation. Next slide. Okay, federal level, just real quick, a few things. I mentioned that they were moving, they were going to eliminate the Administration on Community Living and split all our services and funds and mandates into 3 different departments at this federal level. And that got pushed back because there's a lot of people who in Congress who understand what the Older Americans Act is, and they understand the importance of these services. That doesn't mean that they won't cut programs, but at least they haven't split up the Older Americans Act into 3 different departments. So, but we are waiting to see if there will be any programs eliminated. At one point, they were talking about eliminating the SAIL-type exercise health promotion programs. They haven't yet, but we're waiting. Next slide. But we're more concerned right now about some of the other situations, the other programs the state or the federal government might cut, because and Medi-Cal, we all know Medi-Cal, they're making a lot of changes to Medicaid, which is Medi-Cal here. The challenge with that for a rural area is we need those Medi-Cal dollars to pay for our health care, not just for people who are on Medi-Cal, but they help pay enough of it so that those of us on private insurance or Medicare can also get coverage. It's not like there's a Medi-Cal doctor sitting there just serving people with Medi-Cal, and when they don't have enough people to serve with that, they just still exist. It's like they're serving people, our doctors and all of our professionals are serving all of us. You take out a major funding source in a rural area and you're going to see big changes that impact the rest of us. So that is something that I think we're looking at right now. Also the CalFresh funding, the federal SNAP funding, that is going to devastate our community. There's a lot of working people here who use Food for People. Most of the people using Food for People are children, seniors, or working adults. So what's going to happen? Next slide. And state level, let's see. So this is not quite true anymore, but it was that about 50% of our funding, it's a little less now, was required for state match to federal funding. So we don't know if the federal funding gets reduced, if the state funding will also be reduced. I mentioned before that we're losing money. We're not losing money, it's money that was state and federal relief from COVID. And the state has given us some what they call modernization money, Older Californians Act modernization money, but that could also be clawed back. And I mentioned that some of the state changes, they were pushing, the governor was pushing to remove the protection of some assets for older adults to get on Medi-Cal. That got pushed back. So, but it still impacts older adults who have assets but not income. So we were able to push it back so you can still have up to I got this backwards, but up to, you can still have some level of assets over and above the assets are exempt and still qualify for Medi-Cal. Because before you had to be poor. You had to have no assets and only have $2,000 of money in the bank. And now they're allowing a little bit more than that. Next slide. This is what the money we're waiting to see. It's not going to be cut here with the state budget, but once we see what the federal budget does to the state budget, the state may have to go back in and make some changes because the state doesn't really know what the federal government's impacts are going to be. But these are the remaining funds that we have coming from the state to provide, again, $500,000 for nutrition programs and a little bit more that we're working and using in our aging in place services. So hopefully this won't get touched, but if it does, that's going to impact us again. So next slide. So I tell people, and I don't know if this is right, but our services are like the icing on the cake. We don't get a lot of money. We fill in gaps that were mandated. Our money that we get, we have to do specific things with it. We can't take the nutrition money and go and do something else. Our money is siloed and specific. We're the icing on the cake, and the cake is healthcare, it's housing, it's food. If you damage those things in our communities, which is what we're seeing, you don't need icing anymore if you don't have a cake. So one of the things we will be watching is how, depending on what happens at the state and federal levels, as that cake gets taken away, what leeway do we have to stop giving people icing and maybe give them something more nutritious? And I'm not saying this to minimize the services we provide. I just showed them to you. They're important services. But giving people rides to doctors doesn't make sense if they don't have insurance or they don't have a doctor anymore. So we have to be looking at how we pivot, oops, I was told not to use that word, how we change as a result of what's happening. And that's where we are right now. We're kind of in that place, continue what we're doing, but how can we possibly change if we become icing with no cake? How can we use this, if that makes any sense? So that's what I have. I know that's plenty for you guys, but I appreciate the time to be able to talk to you without the pressure of another thing happening. Are there any questions for me or comments?
Any questions from the board? Supervisor Madrone?
Not so much a question, but thank you for your presentation. And I think it probably goes without saying that we should all be contacting our congressional and Senate representatives right now in particular, because the great big ugly bill is still in process, and it has a lot of potential cuts, and every day they say something different. Oh no, we're not going to cut that, but then we are cutting that, and it's really hard to follow for people. But I think just recognizing that contacting our representatives is super crucial at this time. But I really want to thank you and all your volunteers for everything you guys do for our community. And it is so much more than icing. I know that was a great representation of that, but these are crucial services.
Absolutely.
And I thank you for it.
Yeah, they are crucial, but they work in tandem with the others, and if the others get blown out of the water, then we have to figure out how we deal with that. Thank you. And if you know people who live in other states, ask them to call, because our folks hear from us all the time, and they're on the same page. But if you know people living in other states, encourage them to call their representatives as well. Thank you.
Any other comments before I go to public comment? Okay, we'll go to public comment on the Zoom.
There is none, Chair.
Okay, public comment in the room.
I yield to Virginia.
Dipping on this side.
Good morning.
Thank you, Madam Chair and honorable board members. I'm the newest member of the CSL, which is the California Senior Legislature. And so I just want to put an idea in your head. I think it's an opportunity, or there's an opportunity that exists for the Senior Legislature to work with both CSAC and NACO. I mean, CSAC and RCRC, pardon me, I missed that one. But I think it's important when we're talking about issues for seniors and legislation, if our organizations that represent the counties don't know what we need, this seems like a disconnect. So I've been working with the president of CSL, and we just started talking about this. I don't know what it looks like yet, but I will be reaching out to you guys to see of your ideas of how this can work together. So you all know my number, so call me or send me a message. I think it's something exciting, even though I don't know what it looks like yet. And your reference to icing made me hungry because I didn't eat breakfast. So thank you very much for having this on your agenda today.
Thank you.
I just want to say icing is not food, just so you know. Virginia is our newest CSL, as she said, and we're really pleased to have her representing our community. So, and for her knowledge, it's really going to be great for us. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi, I'm a little calmer now. My name's Joanne McGarry, and I've been a beneficiary of some of Area 1 Agency on Aging's programs and also Senior Resource Center. I actually am an incredible poster child for Humboldt senior realities in terms of tripping hazards. Getting back to my e-bike, I have to park it in my small apartment. It's a tripping hazard. But it's not safe to park it elsewhere. Okay, I'm gonna keep harping on that, but also, but I'm getting my exercise. And I go to senior meals. I'm gonna hightail it back to Arcata on the trail with my e-bike and have a senior meal in Arcata. And I'm concerned about, them losing funding. It's more and more people are showing up. And I've benefited by Food for People. I've had consultation on height cap. I'm a fortunate current member of Medi-Cal, so Medicare, Medi-Cal, I get universal health care, which all of us in this country should have. But I can't make more than $60 or else I lose it because I retired during the pandemic. Oh, and also my subsidy for my rental housing in Arcata is going away after this month, so I'll be paying twice as much. And there's no Section 8 voucher program available anymore, so I'll be paying twice as much in August, which is over half my Social Security. So reality, I'm living it, and thank you for expressing it. It's a lot of numbers of human beings in those statistics that she was showing, and you're looking at one right now. Humanity, going back to we're talking about the humanity of the world and what we need to do to take care of everybody.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for what you do. There's a great amount of appreciation. I think I'm quoting the right person. I think it was Virginia Bass who said, there's only so much honey in the honey pot. And that's true. Right now, Humboldt County is actually the tip of the spear as far as a major solution. Our population's going down. And I know my children say to me, you boomers totally messed us up. Look what you did to us. Look what you left us with. And it's a very prevalent attitude out there. And we did. We really messed things up. We could have done so much better. We don't, in my opinion, we don't have a housing problem. We need to reapportion our housing. In other words, that single person living in a 3-bedroom thing, she needs to have and be encouraged and able to have her in-home health care living with them. That's a fix that the county should really be working on. I don't do icing. I brought this today. There's peas for my garden. I planted these before I went to Mexico. They're wonderful things. I do my own garden, and I strongly suggest the older people take time. It's great therapy to garden. Gives you really good food. I think I'll give these to Virginia. I think she deserves those for coming here today. But anyway, it's something that we really have to work on. And if we don't work on it, we don't have much of a future. I think Humboldt County, like I say, shrinking population, we don't need more people in the earth. We don't need them. We need less people here, in my opinion. That will solve a lot of our problems. And just the people, older people need to have this. Like I've mentioned, there's what I call vulturing, when some relative or somebody moves in with an older person and it takes their things from them and doesn't treat them right, then that thing has to stop also. So we as a society have a lot to work on here. Hopefully we all can get together and work on some things. So I think I'll go give these to Virginia.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment in the room? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and come back to the board for final thoughts and a motion. Supervisor Wilson.
Well, I mean, considering, I think the bill in question passed the Senate this morning. Is that, do I have that correct? Be moving back to the House.
Right.
We do, I mean, yes, there's huge concerns. We've brought it up in our legislative agenda in terms of the cuts that could impact our rural health care. We didn't speak specifically about the programs that you're talking about, but they're of course connected 100%. I do actually, and I was thinking that, and I agree with you that our local legislators are on board with not wanting to see these cuts happen, and I think it's hard to find a place where we have a voice, and I do think that former Supervisor Bass mentioned, and I believe that our membership with CSAC and not just CSAC but also NACO is I think a pretty decent venue to express that. And so I'd like to make a motion to receive and file this report, but also direct our legislative staff to just draft a letter of concern about these cuts that were mentioned here that have impact on the programs that you're talking about, as well as the others, to go out as soon as possible to our membership organizations to let them know that this county is concerned and distressed, actually, about what's about to occur. So that's my motion.
I'll second. I do have a request for a friendly amendment. Would you also be willing to send the same letter to our representatives?
Yeah, we'll send it to the representatives as well. I think it's appropriate. We'll CC the world, but I think anyone in our legislative staff deems is relevant to this. But I want to make sure that our state and national organizations, which is politically diverse in its membership, and I do know that that there are that these impacts know no political bounds. It is really just on the most. It really impacts the most vulnerable people in our communities, whether no matter what state or county you're in, and we're seeing that in the political discourse. But I think that's probably our best shot at a letter that might have some value, and I want to lean on those organizations to do more to help defend us, because that's hopefully what we pay for a bit in our membership, amongst other services. So thanks.
Could I ask for an amendment as well? That
I love the amendments.
that we include RCRC, but that the legislative person, I think would be Sean, work with the chair, and I'm also the voting member for CSAC to create that letter.
Yes, I think that's great. Just want to make sure it's as quickly as possible and it's to the point. So thank you.
Kaylee, did you get that? Okay. Thank you for the presentation today and all the information. It's a ton of information. Really appreciate all that you do for Humboldt County and the people of Humboldt County that need those services. So
Thank
I believe
you.
we're ready to vote.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, thank you. So our final item for today is closed session, and we'll go to County Council.
Thank you, Chair Bushnell. It is the intention of the board to meet in closed session pursuant to California Government Code Sections 54954.5 and 54957 in order to consider the public employee performance evaluations for the positions of the Agricultural Commissioner, Public Defender, and County Administrative Officer. It is also the intention of the board to meet in closed session pursuant to California Government Code Section 54956.9 D4 in order to discuss the initiation of litigation in one potential case.
Thank you. Public comment on the Zoom?
There is none, Chair.
Public comment in the room?
Number one, consider a public employee evaluation of Director of Agriculture. I had a concern regarding something going on there with weights and measures. I called yesterday. They were very, very easy to talk to, picked up the phone, which is amazing sometimes. So that department seems to be running good, and the concern hopefully I will be able to define and have addressed. We have a evaluation of the position of Director of Public Defender. I haven't heard a lot of negativity. In the past, we've had some problems with some of these departments, so that's a good thing. In fact, I did hear a positive thing. There was somebody who was going after having the public defender defend them. Their case was so ridiculous, I don't think they had the time to budget the time to defend that person, so I don't know where that leaves that person. But anyway, sometimes that's what you have to do. And then we also have County Administrative Officer, Alicia, today. And, you know, I do have a little bit of, and it's not Alicia, it's Humboldt County. You know, we really don't have an economy. Our economic development department seems to really need some help and work. It's the same as Blue Lake. We have to develop a new economy. The one we have didn't work. It's not working. The projects coming before us, such as Nordic and offshore wind, most likely won't be working. And we're going to have a need for really innovative development. An example of a business that seems to be booming is out in Blue Lake. We have the brewery out there, and that particular thing, they're now getting contracts all across the nation to provide their beer products to the sporting events. I mean, this is the kind of innovation that we have to facilitate locally and able to develop. I've noticed the amount of kegs they have in their yard out there. When I was over there yesterday, were probably 10 times what they used to be. And they're also switching over their whole new infrastructure. So it's a tribe from out of the area that purchased this and is developing it. So anything we can do to help work on those particular things are really good. The $425,000, I'd like to see that really leveraged and go efficiently and effectively. You're going to need to get somebody to lead that department. We lost Kenny Spain years ago because he was not able to work with your predecessor, apparently, is what I heard. But we need somebody of that caliber in there to actually direct and develop our future economy here. And hopefully we can find some people willing to do that. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on that. Oh, lastly here, this is about the fourth time we've had initiating litigation. Are we going to initiate that, or are we just going to talk about it? Anyway, just a thought. I'd be curious to see when you report out someday, we're suing somebody and we're going to make money. Maybe like that. We had something about the opioids. We got a judgment. We got a bunch of money out of that one. So hopefully it's as good as that one. Hit a home run. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment in the room? Okay, seeing none, I'll close public comment. How long do you anticipate?
I would say an hour to an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, we will be in recess to go to closed session. If I could have the board members there in 10 minutes. Kayla, let me know when you're ready. Okay, we're back out of closed session, and I'll go to County Council for report out.
Thank you, Chair Bushnell. There was no reportable action taken with regard to items K1 through K4.
Okay, and we're adjourned.